What is going on, guys? It is Drew here. Today we're going to be checking out every single Warhammer 40k faction explained part 1. So there's going to be another part of this switch down to check out if you guys haven't been enjoying. But the reason I wanted to check this out this time, because this video was made some years ago, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 4 years ago. So back in 2020 this video was made. But I only wanted to react to it now because I seen the Warhammer 2 came out. Not the part 2 of this video, but the actual part 2 of the game or something like that, Warhammer 2. Yeah, and everybody's been buzzing about it. Like, I've been seeing people put it in Game of the Year talks. And we got Wukong this year, which has been one of my favorite games so far. What else did we get this year? Helldivers. I guess it makes sense that a new big game could be in Game of the Year talks. It hasn't been a crazy year, I guess. But, yeah. To be in Game of the Year talks nonetheless is still crazy, so I do want to check this out because by the way, I've never played Warhammer. I never really heard about it. Like I've obviously seen it on like the store on the PlayStation, but I've never even watched a trailer from it or anything like that. So I think this would be maybe an interesting perspective for some of you to watch, somebody who's never seen anything about it ever. So yeah, hey, if you're new, and maybe I'll check out some more Warhammer stuff, so make sure to like and subscribe. Trying to hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And hey, I think that's all I have to say. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Serve
Also,
Messiah, but someone who can
check out Bricky.
Them. You will not be getting my legs today, as I will be replacing them with various things depending on which faction we are currently talking about, to add a little bit more context and possible comedy to whatever the hell I am currently doing.
What the heck?
So, hello everybody,
my name is
Bricky, and this is going to be a long video and large project that has been going on for quite some time.
All right.
This is...
I'm excited.
2 hands for this. This is every single Warhammer 40k race in kind of a nutshell, explained, a little bit of explanation, a little bit of lore, a little bit of talking about
I thought it said faction.
Mostly lore, what they're all about, and also a little bit of background for those of you who just have no clue what Warhammer 40,000 is.
Much needed, bro.
Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 is a universe people hear plenty of, but don't know a whole lot about. They see, oh, there's these dudes in big power armor with chainsaw swords, and they got these big old green orcs, and there's some bugs over there, and everyone calls these guys weebs, and then there's these spiky bitches over here, and I don't get it. I don't understand.
Honestly, another game we checked out is World of Warcraft. I've seen like the cinematics for that. This is what it's kind of reminding me of a little bit.
This video is
I don't know if it's anything like it though.
For you, or for those of you who have a little bit of knowledge, but you're kind of curious about each of the different races and factions in Warhammer.
Zero knowledge.
Overall, the Warhammer universe is vast when it comes to lore and background.
Is this a map?
Different faction is so different with the things that they believe in, and some are human, some are transhuman, like where they all have all these crazy ass electronics on them.
Like mixed human with mixed robots.
And you've got the Chaos faction.
That's actually kind of cool.
So much to entail that I decided to embark on this project to tell you what each and every single one of them is about, and what the Warhammer universe is about as well, to give at least a little bit of an intro to this extremely bloated but very, very enjoyable world that I and many others partake in.
Gotcha.
So I will be explaining every single faction in the Warhammer 40k universe, at least all the factions.
Oh wow, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Damn.
Actions you can.
Okay, wait. Space Marines actually does sound familiar.
Play
that might be the one thing I know.
And some smaller factions here and there. I will not be discussing absolutely everything in it because that is a little bit much, and I'm not going to go too mega deep into the lore. I'm going to give you a pretty solid overview of each of the different factions and have you learn a little bit about them, and we'll discuss a little bit of the tabletop as well in case you were curious about that. But for this episode entirely, we are discussing the Imperium of Man, because that takes up a fat chunk of Warhammer lore.
Oh, damn, he's doing one video on one?
What is Warhammer 40,000? Well, the 40,000 starts off is the year 40,000, the 41st millennium. That's where it takes place, is in the year 40,000, 41,000 AD.
Gotcha.
You're already more knowledgeable. Let me read you a quote, first of many quotes in this video. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. To be a man in such times is to be amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable.
Jeez.
These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods.
Jeez. The best way to describe that as the first person hearing that is just damn. So what, is there like, it said there was an emperor, and then, but multiple thirsting gods. So are the gods evil?
Everything blows.
Jeez, yeah, that
and
sucks.
And it blows fucking hard. Warhammer is probably the most dark and depressing universes ever in fiction. Or at least
sounds like it.
Top 3. Everything is so absurdly horrible, destructive.
Have you watched Berserk though?
Or overpowered,
this might be worse
that
than
it all
Berserk.
kind of ends up canceling itself out. It's like
as a universe.
Dota. War rages across the galaxy. Interstellar travel is only possible due to sacrificing 1,000 souls a day to a rotting carcass of a man who you believe to be your god. Demonic gods and just demons.
But I'm guessing he's just so damn powerful, like, that you have to do it, right?
Tear open the fabric of reality on a whim.
That is gore.
Other Xenos or even other humans end up killing each other in untold billions across the galaxy. It is a time of unending war, slaughter, and a bloodbath amongst everybody. Planets are deemed unrecoverable and are completely destroyed on a whim. Everything sucks.
Yeah.
But that's like the charm of it. See, everything in Warhammer is evil. But being evil is kind of fun. Like, humanity, in its own right, is a xenophobic, prejudice, and religious zealot group that kill each other just as much as they kill all of their enemies. And they're like mid to high tier evil on the evil scale of Warhammer. Nobody is good. No matter who you are, everyone is some flavor, some color of evil. Whoever you pick, you are going to be the bad guy. But that's the fun of it. Because being the bad guy is badass. Villains are cool. They look cool. They got cool outfits. They got cool weapons. They got cool armies. Villains are cool, man. And when everyone is a villain, everyone is pretty cool. That's what makes...
Interesting. So there's not even... No one's a hero. Is there an option to be a hero, or is it just like, nah, you evil, you evil? I mean, I don't mind either way. That is actually kind of cool.
Everyone can be the bad guy.
Right.
So let's start off talking about the main bad guy, quote unquote, the Imperium of Man.
It's hair, whack, it's gear.
Frickin' ads, oh my gosh, we're done.
Empire of the human race. All of humanity is under this one flag.
He's got those pants on.
Imperium. And about 10,000 years ago, there was a man. He was the emperor of mankind, a 10-foot tall psychic demigod who led humanity across the stars to colonize tons and tons of worlds, create superhuman soldiers, and really bring humanity into a new age. This man, the Emperor of Mankind, was a psyker. And a psyker is like a magician of sorts. In the world of 40k, there is the warp, the immaterium, kind of like hell, but sort of like a purgatory dimension of hell. And a psyker is someone who can take that power and manifest it through their mind to use it to do stuff. Like witchcraft stuff, magician stuff, spells, and lots.
That's really cool, actually, because that reminds me of this other movie like called Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's like you can like take stuff from different dimensions and use it in yours as your power. That's cool.
Some other things,
that's what it immediately reminded me of. But I guess it's a little different because it's from this dark space. That's cool,
the Emperor, big boy psyker, top tier, A+, maybe even S. Now, the Emperor created a bunch of sons. Yes, created a bunch of sons known as the Primarchs. He created 18 Primarchs to have them lead all of the different legions of humanity to the different stars and planets to help colonize and bring it out. These Primarchs are basically like little versions of the Emperor.
So these are all of his sons?
Damn. A lot of them are very, very powerful, and they lead his special Space Marine legions. Then this big clusterfuck happened called the Horus Heresy, where the Emperor's favorite son, the Primarch, Horus, ended up joining Chaos and leading 9 other, well, I guess 9 of the 18, half of his Primarchs directly to Earth to fight down the Emperor himself. Now, if you want to know what Chaos is, remember what I mentioned earlier, the warp, that Immaterium, the hellish place? In there relies the 4 Chaos gods. Imagine like Satan and 3 other Satans. The warp being kind
Hold on, I actually kind of want to see them again. They were looking dubious. I'm not gonna lie, this guy right here is, come on, we can all agree he's the coolest. He is looking like a king on his throne. This one just looks disgusting. Yeah.
Imagine like Satan.
Yeah.
Satans. The warp being kind of evil, those Chaos gods, that's the reason. And so those Chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus helped manipulate all 8 other Primarchs to lead this giant coup directly on the Emperor on Earth. And they fucked up shit. After this huge civil war, Horus died, but not before brutally wounding the Emperor. And right at the end of his life, they put the Emperor on this large golden throne on Earth, in which he is now alive, just barely, but slowly rotting away, powering something called the Astronomicon, so long as he stays alive.
Y'all let me know, did I just miss something? So they gathered all those people to try and kill him, and he still lived? Or was that another objective?
And is fed 1,000 people a day. The Astronomicon is like the North Star. If you want to do interstellar travel in 40k, you need to pass through that demonic warp I mentioned earlier. But how do you know where you're going? Well, the Emperor is there putting a nice little navigator right there. He helps navigate you to know where you're going. If you want to go from Earth to some crazy solar system across the way, you need to go through that warp, and then you need to know where you're going, go through there, and pop your way out. It's like doing nether travel in Minecraft, so you can shorten the distance between going to areas. So long as the Emperor is alive and being fed 1,000 people a day to stay alive, you can do that. The moment he dies, interstellar travel's gone for all of humanity.
Damn.
You're so boned. Now, since the Horus Heresy 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has fallen from grace substantially. All technology has started to dwindle and die. There is now giant fundamental religious extremists that now believe the Emperor of Mankind was a deity.
It's low-key an apocalypse.
Living god, which is probably the last thing the Emperor would have wanted to be remembered for. So now you have this thing called the Ecclesiarchy, which is this giant church entirely devoted to spreading the good word of the Emperor. He is now the Holy Emperor God, the God Emperor of mankind. And all of the Imperium has taken up worshiping him to the fullest extent and killing anything that isn't humanity in his name. The Imperium has this futuristic gothic tone to it and a hefty religious zealotry to them. If you think anything against the Emperor, that's heresy and you deserve to die. That is called being a heretic. Heretics die in 40k. There is no such thing as freedom of religion. There is no such thing as freedom of speech, so long as you are against the Emperor. There is no such thing as any kind of tolerance. Everyone is a religious zealot. Some more than others, but no matter what, you're preaching that good word.
I'm guessing right now, he did something crazy,
humanity is trying to expand their empire across the stars. If you are a heretic, someone who doesn't believe in the Emperor, you are deserving of death. If you believe in the Chaos Gods, you are also a heretic and you deserve death. If you are an
this is just in that like faction though, right? Like obviously other type of things don't believe in that God too, right?
Alien,
I guess not believing, because he's literally alive. Like, I guess worship
race of any kind, you are a filthy Xenos and you deserve death as well. So long as the murder continues and humanity expands, The Imperium of Man is very, very happy.
Gotcha.
However, the largest fighting force of this Imperium is my personal favorite faction, and the first faction we will discuss, the Astra Militarum, or also known as the Imperial Guard.
Pretty shit now, man.
Imperial
The Imperial Guard is the main fighting force of the Imperium, and in a world of horrifying creatures, galactic monstrosities, the literal
just look like an army
themselves breaking through the fabric of time to kill you, the Imperial Guard
futuristic
are
army.
Untold billions of regular men and women wearing modern day like flak armor with a laser rifle. This is the humble las gun, the main weapon of the Imperial Guard. It fires
so I was right. It literally looks like a futuristic army.
Extremely fast fire rate. It is reliable, never jams. It can blow off limbs, giant holes in concrete. It is overall an extremely devastating weapon in modern day. It is one of the weakest in the 40k universe. Yeah, a laser rifle.
Yeah, okay, that actually makes so much sense.
Rifle that never jams, it could blow off limbs. One of the weakest weapons.
Yeah.
That's the world we're in right now. But who cares? Because the Imperial Guard has, in each battle, 500,000 of these men and women. 30,000 large armored tanks,
so they're really banking on
artillery
quantity,
batteries.
not
The
quality.
Imperial Guard wins through sheer numbers and firepower. They kind of have
what
this
makes so many people want to be a part of it.
World War II style aesthetic with legions of guardsmen as well as high company commanders and generals on the field along with them, and multiple kinds of troops. A normal Imperial Guard battle
something
starts
cool about
off
that though.
with artillery, long lines of artillery cracking the crust of the planet underneath the enemy's feet. And as this barrage continues, hundreds of thousands of guardsmen, a sea of guardsmen surges forward.
I get 500,000 per battle.
Everything possible.
That's nuts.
While the planet rumbles as tanks roll up behind them. Gunships block out the sun, and tanks block out the dirt with the steps and hoof prints of millions of guardsmen. It is through numbers and sheer sundering firepower. They are the first and last line of defense for the Imperium and make up a huge bulk of the battles. The Imperial Guard is also made up of tons of different kinds of regiments. The Catachin jungle fighters live in a death world that's more hospitable than almost any firefight they'll ever get into. So they just have this steroid-looking giant knife Rambo predator.
Yeah, so what I'm getting is this is like the closest to like a real life army. Is what I'm getting. I'm assuming that all the other ones are going to be like freaking
as scary as
decked out armor, weapons.
You have the Valhallan Winter Soldiers who haven't felt their toes in 300 years. The Mordian Iron Guard who are more interested in making their shoes shine than actually fighting a battle. And then, of course, the big one, the Cadians from Cadia. The biggest export of guardsmen in the entirety of the Imperium. You will fire your first gun at 5. You will disassemble and reassemble it at 10. You will have pounding artillery drills day in and day out at 15. And you'll fight your first Swarm Lord at 16. And if you mention Cadia, you will burst into an unrelenting amount of tears and sadness like I do daily. To quote, I have
what happened to Cadia?
An entire battle group of the Imperial Guard.
What happened?
50 regiments including specialized drop troops, stealthers, mechanized formations, armored companies, combat engineers, and mobile artillery. Over 500,000 fighting men and 30,000 tanks and artillery pieces are mine to command. Emperor, show mercy to the fool that stands against me, for I shall not. The Imperial Guard are my personal favorite faction in 40k. They're the army I collect the most, the ones I enjoy playing the most, and the one I enjoy in the lore sense a lot. There's something about just a regular man with a laser rifle being told to charge the horrors of this universe and willingly doing so for his god emperor. It's just poetic. They actually represent the main Imperial Guard tactics pretty well. Large amounts of artillery that doesn't require a line of sight, lots of tanks, tons of infantry, drop troops, and gunships. Overall, they're pretty similar to how they sound, though a little bit expensive to collect, unfortunately. And they don't hit a lot. They have a bit of a bad aim, but you don't really care because you're just drowning them in shots. However,
they have bad aim.
More
That's
accurate fire and specialization. We can move on to talk about Space Marines.
The Angels of Death.
The Angels of Death are up next. Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers and superhumans. They're given extra organs, their skin tissue is toughened, their bones are stronger, they're taller than the average person. They're pretty massive people. And these are the specialized super soldiers that carry out a lot of the more specific tasks for the Imperium. And there's tons of legions of them. In fact, there's one per Primarch. Each Primarch, the Emperor's son, as I mentioned before, oversees their legion of Space Marines. The genetic upgrade they get is based on the genes of said Primarch. It's something called a gene seed. That's what brings them up to this like superhuman level. As stated, each Primarch has their own legion. Robot Girly Man has the Ultramarines, Jagatai Khan has the White Scars, Rogel Dorn has the Imperial Fists, Corvus Corax has the Raven Guard. There's a whole bunch of other side sections that are also extremely interesting and
so every legion has their own kind of fit.
Space Marines, which we will discuss in a bit. Humorously enough, I don't have a whole lot to say about Space Marines. They're superhumanly fast. In fact, it's been said that nothing that large should move that quick. These men in power armor moving at blazing fast speeds. Their reflexes are faster.
So basically, they're freaking Captain America, but they look way bigger.
Their skin is tougher. They are overall just extremely powerful soldiers.
Yeah, maybe just a stronger type of Captain America.
Comes down to which Space Marine Legion we're talking about. For instance, the Ultramarines done by Robot Gilliman are the main blue boys. Strong in almost every way.
Yeah, this is the dude who's on the cover of the new game, right?
A little bit too strong, and that's a lore problem, but the White Scars by Jagatai Khan are all about speed freaks, go fast. We're talking attack bikes, we're talking land speeders. You want to go in quick, you want to hit them hard, you want them to be swarming around like buzzflies. Buzzsaws.
Something like that, bro.
With the speed of buzzsaws.
Bro is more confused than me.
Fuck you, Pale King. Salamanders love fire.
Hey, yo, Hollow Knight.
Forge, fire in battle. Flamers, melta-guns, multi-meltas. Just so long as something can be burning, that's big. And they're also actually some of the nicest of the Space Marines. A lot of Space Marines have this kind of like holier-than-thou thing because of their genetic strength. However, the Salamanders tend to put human lives above the lives of themselves, which is actually...
I would have literally thought the opposite, because, you know, hey, y'all know how some people will be when they hit the gym, get really fit, they just get an ego and turn into jerks. It happens. But now with them, it seems like they're stronger, and they're just like, oh, no. I will risk my life for you. So they're holy. They got the Holy Spirit.
Rare. They're also all black.
That's pretty interesting.
But not like just regular black, like 2 a.m. line at a White Castle black. Like they have a charcoal, dark, ashy exterior and blazing red eyes. Apparently something about living on their home planet of Nocturne, which I don't know if that makes much sense, but who cares? This is like fantasy land anyway. Overall, Salamanders are actually one of my personal favorite legions because they're just really cool. They're fun to play as because of all their flamer weapons, and they have a nice, like, more heartwarming lore as opposed to being super evil like everyone else is. Oh my god, we're not even a quarter of the Imperial Fists believe in the power of the siege and defensive positions. Raven Guards, master of stealth and sabotage while having bird helmets. Iron Hands, masters of machines and vehicles while being really goddamn good at being sold on eBay after one nerf. Space Wolves, Vikings and wolves, and tons of wolves and axes, battle axes, fur everywhere.
Cool.
Space Wolves, angry.
I'm not a furry, by the way.
Blood Angels,
still looks cool though.
Genetic defect to make them want to drink blood and go crazy, called the Red Thirst. They have Cupid wings and stuff, which is a little bit strange, and they are all super gay for Sanguinius. Dark Angels are old school knights and inner circle theme and...
No elaboration needed.
Are you a heretic?
Me? No, never. Once in a blue moon, I know.
Death Watch, a fancy anti-Xenos group that nobody plays because Death Watch, and they look cool though, but no one plays them. I don't know about Death Watch. They're there though. Black Templars, for the people who, if you haven't prayed at least 3 times a day, you're gonna start praying out that airlock. And I'm sure there's some other chapters I may have missed as well, like Crimson Fists and stuff. But those are the main ones right here. Here, quote from the Emperor himself. They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease, no sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are my defenders of humanity. They are my space marines, and they shall know no fear.
Alright. Really, y'all gonna hit me with the Frosted Flakes head? I like the way, like, they described all the factions, you know, or not factions specifically, but everything that they describe it in just such a really cool manner.
And on the tabletop,
so yeah, I just really like that.
Fuck. Oh, they fuck hard.
Hey, yo.
As of making this video, Space Marines are laughably strong. That might change at some point, but overall, Space Marines just have it's like a Swiss.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, they're on the, like, I might have to fact check this real quick. Yeah, so I wanted to say is I was pretty sure they're on, like, the Space Warhammer 40k 2 cover, which, they are. I'm pretty sure that's them, you know, unless there's another one that just kind of looks exactly like it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, really. So they must be pretty powerful or popular as well.
Except it's like a gold-plated Swiss Army knife. It is extremely strong. If you are actually getting into the tabletop of Warhammer, Space Marines are a great start. Also, whatever gameplay style you have, whether you want to be sit back with long range and heavy weaponry,
I actually don't even know what the gameplay looks like,
or even just full melee. Seen gameplay. All of these options are totally there for you. Space Marines are super badass, but unfortunately, it's time we start praying to our new god, the 2011 Honda Civic.
So is it any wonder people are afraid of technology?
Technology!
The Adeptus Mechanicus.
The Adeptus Mechanicus. The Adeptus Mechanicus are a technophile cult on Mars. Now, these people are a little bit weird because they don't actually really believe in the Emperor of Mankind. And you might think, oh, whoa, Berkey, that sounds like some heresy.
Yeah, y'all need to die.
A little bit. They believe in the Emperor. They believe in his power, but they don't pray to him. They pray to something called the Omnissiah. And the Omnissiah is this kind of machine god that they believe permeates in all machines. And if you think, well, wait a minute, they believe in a different god as well? That sounds like super heresy. Well, yes-ish, but they also make all your guns, and they make all your tanks.
Ah, so they
make
pass
everything that you have.
Okay, I see.
So you can't really tell them to fuck off, because you're not gonna win nothing if you don't got stuff to shoot people with. See, they're on the side.
But that begs me to question, like, is that god real in that universe? Like, that, you know, is it? I'm
at least makes sense.
I'm thinking it would have to be because the way that they make all the weapons, maybe.
Standpoint. They believe it to be a deity that permeates through all machines. Your Honda Civic, your standard bolt gun, your Dune Strider Walker, your giant mechs, your huge ships. The Omnissiah is
controller
through all. And the only reason your stuff
That'd be really
works is because the machine's spirit in it says it works. If you want your gun to work, your tank to run, you must pray to it. And I mean full stop. You need to start chanting in high Gothic. You need to burn incense. You need to sit on your knees and pray to that car. You need to rub oil on your robes, and you need to go,
Who came up with this?
Full stop. If you want your damn thing to work, if you want your gun to fire, you need to do that. They are very bizarre, and they actually have a bit of a point because it's obviously working. And if you look at them,
that's what I'm saying.
Know how that works.
That's what I'm saying.
They obviously know something about what they're doing. The most notable member of the Adeptus Mechanicus
it has to be real if it works, right?
Magos, whatever. Belisarius Call. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Yeah. This is the group we're talking about. These are these weirdos. Here.
Call them weird, but they look powerful.
Creed. The credo, Omnissiah. There is no truth in flesh only betrayal. There is no strength in flesh, only weakness. There is no constancy in flesh, only decay. There is no certainty in flesh, but death. Flesh is weakness, flesh is death. The Omnissiah is the god of the machines, and if you wish to be whole, if you wish to be holy, if you wish to give unto him, you must saw down your limbs and remove your organs and replace them with mechanical parts, because that is what he wants, and that is how you will become enlightened. Hard technophiles mixed with religious extremism.
To each their own.
That is Mechanicus. Now for their army side of things, right? They are with the Skitari. The Skitari operate with very bizarre weaponry and lots of different kinds of vehicles, tanks, and different people in between. They're very weird, but they have extremely wacky and enjoyable, and in fact quite effective both in the real game and in the lore, weaponry and gear. Overall, as an army on the tabletop, they're very weird and have a whole bunch of different shenanigans, but if you like kind of that quirky, wacky techno thing, I'd give them a pickup. Hell, they're so paranoid, I gotta keep going. They're so paranoid and crazy. These Dune Striders you see right here, one guy was able to make them work. One guy, and he died. And they're so scared they'll never work again that they keep them on and they never turn them off, and they run around in a circle the whole time until they need them, and then they corral it and they go into battle.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yep. The Adeptus Mechanicus. Now, if you want to talk about faith, though, let's talk about the Sisters of Battle.
A sim has fallen for an eagle in Lego City.
The Sisters of Battle,
sound effects,
the Adeptus Sororitas, if that's how I pronounce it
Light
correctly, is an all-female group of battle sisters.
Oh no, he's wearing a skirt.
The ecclesiarchy section of the Imperium. The ecclesiarchy is, of course, the church.
Yeah,
this is, imagine a private army of the church. Which is scary. And it is. The sisters are an extremely zealotous force, and they take this to a full extreme. They believe in three main things: faith.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see where this could go pretty bad. Like a army just for the church. Yeah, they're gonna be fighting like anybody.
Martyrdom and
anybody
fire.
Who don't believe.
Through the bolter, the flamer, and the melta, the Sisters of Battle are extremely potent at taking out chaos and heretics.
Right.
Mainly heretics, because as they are a fighting section of the ecclesiarchy church, that's the big thing they want to kill. Yeah. Any form of heretic will face the Emperor's justice through those three main weapons, the bolter, the flamer, and the melta, and they will do so with extreme
I kind of wonder, do the people of Warhammer like just believe out of fear? Or not believe, but worship out of fear.
And I'm talking hardcore nuns. They carry holy fire on their backs. They have holy books and sigils all across their armor. Their main battle tank is a fucking pipe organ missile launcher.
That's pretty funny.
Small babies that they have like removed their brain capacity to make them little servant cherubs to fly around and give them ammunition and shit. They drop churches from low orbit as mini drop pods onto battles. They drop churches.
Wouldn't that be like against the church though?
Into battles, and they blare war hymns and holy music from their frigates in low atmosphere and shower holy water across the battlefield.
Fair enough.
These are the people you are dealing with, and they're fucking awesome. They can literally stave off demons on the tabletop because their faith is that strong.
Damn.
Remember the warp, the demons from the warp? Yeah. Well, the warp also manifests in your mind. All of your emotions, negative and positive, go through the warp. It's the immaterium, the place of all things. So if you are that
So would that mean, since the warp is darkness, like it's mainly people are having dark thoughts?
Mentally fortified, that mentally strong,
so they're
can stave off horrifying demons.
That's pretty cool.
And all these girls, not a crack in that mental armor.
You can't crack them.
Now, as much as a meme as they are, and as much as their models look a lot like Ongo Gabloglian,
jeez,
which I can't unsee anymore, I gotta say, I love their design. I think they're extremely cool. They're another army that I'm currently collecting. They just released a whole new line of figures very recently, and they look wonderful.
I'm low-key scared to get into this because I would feel the need to buy this stuff if I really enjoy the game.
Undying Saint from the Triumph of Saint Catherine.
Oh, is this one of those games where you gotta like buy the things to play them in game? Or are these just like cool collectibles?
Just literally a funeral procession as a model. Those organ tanks I mentioned earlier. This shit is the most over-the-top badassery in a lot of the Warhammer universe, and goddamn it, is it over the top. But Sisters of Battle are so cool. While I'm a guardsman at heart, oh, this is such a cool faction. By Bolter Shell, Flamer Burst, and Melta Blast, the mutant, the heretic, and the traitor alike are cleansed of their sin of existence. Jeez. So it has been for 5 millennia, so shall it be until the end of time.
End of time. Fruit Loops, really?
Speaking of burning demons.
Uh-oh. The Grey Knights.
The Grey Knights are the first army I actually collected back in 7th edition. The Grey Knights are a super secretive and much more old school look at power armored knights, except they are all psychers. All of them have that crazy space magic magician shit. For every 100,000 guardsmen,
that's a good
there's
combo
one
right there.
Grey Knight. For every 10,000 Sisters of Battle, there's one Grey Knight. For every 1,000 Space Marines, there's one Grey Knight. Grey Knights are the strongest of the strong, both in mental will and absolute just strength. These are Space Marines
so they're
that
just
are
like
all
tanks,
high-level
basically.
psychers. All of them able to specifically do one goal.
Is there like less of them though?
Demons. The Emperor believed that the demons of chaos were the #1 threat to the Imperium, and he probably is right. However, this group is entirely based on doing that through a myriad of tactics. Coming from the planet, or I guess the moon of Titan in the Sol system, the Grey Knights are thrown through extremely rigorous training and are as clear of mind and soul as they possibly can be. Since the demons of the warp are the warp and your mind projects to the warp, people can go insane very fast, especially lower level psychers. These Grey Knights need to be able to harness the warp in the presence of demons and stay perfectly sane.
One thing that's interesting to me is like, so this warp thing is like based on everyone's thoughts, right? Like it's like, or everything, just everything, I guess. But like, there's been like 2 of these factions or like groups that are like kind of these. Well, I guess I wouldn't say they're like holy or have good thoughts, but they're like kind of blankish. He said like sane. But the other group's like holy. I'm like, why, how is this mostly evil?
The character's one of my favorite characters is named.
Or I guess mostly evil.
There's
only been 2.
A demon blade, the black
but I was surprised
blade
there's even one holy group.
And he has to have it on him because it tempts everyone nearby, constantly beckoning them. Use my power. Use my strength. Suck my penis. Whatever the possibility.
Whoa.
And so he has to keep it on him all the time as this thing whispers to him consistently, and he has to stave it off forever, being alone in his chambers or on the battlefield, because anyone who gets too close to it might be tempted a little too hard. He is that pure of heart and mind, and all the characters in the Grey Knights are basically like that.
Damn.
The only issue is that
that's cool.
The Grey Knights have a scorched earth policy, more ways than one. If they're fighting demons, demons corrupt and make people crazy. So if I'm a guardsman and I'm fighting demons and the Grey Knights arrive and they kill all the demons, I'm a risk. And so guess who's not making it out of there? On the tabletop, they're very strike fast, strike hard kind of people. They teleport all around the place. They are fast strike groups, small amounts of models because they're so dang strong. You only have so many characters, but with it, you get in there, you're very tough, very tanky, you hit really hard, and you try to bounce around the battlefield quickly.
So that's right. There's like less of them, but they're way stronger.
So every dead Grey Knight hits really damn hard. They're fun though if you like that kind of fast striking kind of army. Oh, and also Kaldor Drago is a thing. We're not even going to get into Kaldor Drago. All right, that is, oh my goodness gracious.
Who is Kaldor Drago?
I am the hammer. I am the mail about his fist. I am the spear in his hand. Though we are lost, I am the shield on his arm. I am the flight of his arrows. I am the hammer. I am the sword. I am the shield. I am a soldier at the battle at the end of time.
Damn, my boy said I'm fighting for
pretty
life.
Hardcore. They are as holy as you can get for a Space Marine. If you like Space Marines and you want to, you know that they're holy enough, you want to be holier, Grey Knights. Now, if you want to be holier and big, let's talk Imperial Knights.
Oh, Lord, he coming!
Do you like gigantic walkers the size of homes or medium-sized buildings?
No, that
Do you want to kill heretics, but you want to kill like 40 of them?
I kind of want to see some gameplay.
Do you want a gigantic, old-school knight noble house style of walkers with giant chainsaw arms? Then you got Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights, it's not a whole lot to talk about them because they're just gigantic walkers, but they have this old-school like house feel to them, like literally they're houses. Each Imperial Knight comes from a house, and each of them act in their own special way. These behemoth of walkers,
they look like they're just kind of robots.
Everything in their path, killing full swaths of squads in a couple shots, stepping on legions of troops. Like these things,
because they're just
do
that
not
massive.
mess around. And they look so cool. Imperial Knights,
they are pretty
and
cool. I'll just
Chaos
move my
Knights,
camera.
actually, for that matter, don't have a whole lot to discuss. They're just super big, heavy walkers, and they look different depending on your house or Chaos God.
The tanks of tanks, it looks like.
And overall, these things are just really cool if you want to murder everything in your path. They're the big, scary, big unit of Warhammer, and if you want to collect them, go to town. They make for a great painting project too. Getting more back down to earth. Let's talk something about a little bit different, a little more gold.
Gold, I love gold.
If guardsmen are regular soldiers, Space Marines are super soldiers, Grey Knights are super soldiers, the Adeptus Custodes are super soldiers cubed. The Adeptus Custodes are the third major army.
What does that mean?
I know, 3 armies. I know, I got carried away, okay? But that's all. I only have 3, okay?
Like, even more super? My bad.
They are our final brand of Space Marines, but these ones are super special. Okay?
Yeah.
If a guardsman is 6 foot, a Space Marine is 7 feet.
Gold
a
equals
custodian
special.
Is 8 feet.
We know this.
These are the giant defenders of Holy Terra, which is also Earth. Earth is Terra. Earth Terra.
Themselves. Gotcha.
These are the people that literally guard the Emperor's throne room. Hence, Custodes. These boys protect the
literally in the
room at all times and are literally like handcrafted people. They're not humans brought up by a gene seer or something. These are all handcrafted super soldiers.
So are they like crafted by the emperor as his sons were, like made by him?
I think from a tube.
From a tube. Damn, they didn't even get made by the emperor himself. It was like, hey, tube, do something.
Of men are like 8 feet, 8.5 feet tall, and functionally immortal. They stand still, spear in hand, for hundreds of years without the need to sleep and barely even the need to eat. Watching over the throne room and every other area of Holy Terra for their entire purpose in life. And oh
that's
my
like
lord,
a little impressive.
Are they terrifying?
Can you play as them though?
Put Space Marines to shame. If you liked your super soldiers, these are your super mega soldiers. One of these men can take on probably 3 Space Marines and most likely win. There are many different groups of custodians as well, like the Solar Watch.
So how the Space Marines are superhuman? They're just, like he said, superhuman.
Go out to seemingly unimportant individuals and protect them because they believe that they are going to be doing something very important in their lives. For instance, let's say a regular guardsman gets the protection of this giant 8.5 foot tall golden god because that guardsman will end up becoming a general one day or something of that nature. The custodians work in mysterious ways and are almost always outnumbered but never outmatched. These people are pretty horrifying, both on the tabletop as well as in the lore. There are very few of them, however, and there's actually an extremely small amount of them. But that's kind of the point. There's only so many of these people that can have war gear this strong, weapons this powerful, and training this good.
That's really cool.
Have all
I know I've been saying that a lot,
100 years,
but
I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis.
By the way.
I was still as a statue, but always ready. always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years I did not but wait, yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat. For 100 years I stood my watch, and as it ends I can tell you this: patience is a weapon.
Wow, so if I'm getting this straight, they're basically just made with the purpose to just like stand there for hundreds of years. Like, that's it. Just guard the Emperor's door. That is like crazy. That is like some next level loyalty, honestly. Like like you never had the, or maybe they had the thought, but they didn't. Like y'all never wanted to just leave.
Custodians are,
but I guess that's what they were made to do,
of the Imperium.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
They hurt just that same way. Though I do want to discuss a little bit about the Sisters of Silence before we get out of here, because the Sisters of Silence I also have a few of, and they're really fun, but they don't get enough attention. These kind of bald plume ladies are a whole group of pariahs, are also known as blanks. We'll be referring to them as blanks from now on. Okay. So as every mind is somewhat connected to the warp, these blanks are a genetic mutation that has it suppressed heavily. Because of that mind suppression, normal people feel this weird, like, uncomfortable nature when around them. When a Sister of Silence walks past them,
they're not connected,
you feel
I guess.
ill. You feel just uncomfortable and strange. So most of them don't actually live past childhood, because once they are birthed, they're killed? Well, you know, killed or something at a very young age. Because they just emit a horrifying aura. These ladies, however, are
died via aura. That's insane.
For more psychic threats. See, none of the custodians are psychers, so they have a difficult time dealing with major demons and other kinds of psychic phenomena. These sisters are extremely specialized in it. All of them taking a vow of silence, as they don't speak, hence the term Sisters of Silence, but they communicate through hand gestures and things of that nature. But if there's a demon issue, if there's any
for some reason I wouldn't have guessed that they wouldn't talk because of that name.
Extremely adept at dealing with them, thanks to their blank gene. They normally work a lot of time with the custodians because they have to deal with both kinds of threats, but they're not represented that way on the tabletop. In fact, they only have like one real model for them, which is very unfortunate. I hope they'll get some like news soon, because I think they should really be working together as it is that way in the lore, but hopefully we'll get there soon. But if we're talking about blanks, let's talk assassins.
My precious
assassins. I would not see these people and think assassins.
Round it out. We got this and one more human thing, and then we're done. The assassins, though, the Officio Assassinorum, oh boy, these people are deadly.
Are those looking like lightsabers?
But oh man, these people will mess you up. So these are from the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the what was it called? Scola Progenium. It's basically an orphan school.
Pretty cool.
Your parents got murdered by demons or something. You get sent to this, and you get trained to be whatever.
I take that back. I take that back.
A Tempestus drop troop, an Inquisitor, maybe even. Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. So you basically just get sent there and just become a unit. 4 temples, because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Caluxus, Calidus, and Eversor temples. We'll start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks. Poof! The Vindicare Temple is the main sniper-based temple. Gigantic sniper rifles for all these assassins.
I like that.
Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there, eye and scope, for weeks, waiting for their perfect target.
I take that back. I'm not built for that. Wow. I was thinking, yo, we trick shotting, baby. Nah, they're like the essence of patience, essentially.
People out from
still not as patient as those golden guards, bro. They be there for hundreds of years, but still
miles
crazy.
Away after extremely long time periods. The Vindicare Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away.
Wow.
Temples in the head, the jugular, for instance, and been sitting there after weeks. And when they're ready, take that shot. Time is done. Packs them up. The Calidus Temple, however, is a lot more about shape-shifting and deviant art. It's mostly a female-based one, or at least it seems to be, and this allows a lot of body augmentation for certain individuals to be able to kind of transmorph themselves and infiltrate areas that are problems. These assassins will end up taking missions that take them years, 2-3 years, to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work their way up, just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed. Or become the main target and sabotage it from within. These are all completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything in between. And
I gotta say, so far to me, the assassins are actually looking like kind of the most interesting class. Like from the start up, like how they're, you know, you get put into this, you know, school, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. And then, bro, damn, yeah, like I actually really like this one. I'm not sure it would be the most fun gameplay. I don't know even know if you can play as him, but it does look like really cool.
Lots of drawings. Lots of drawings.
Never.
The Eversor Temple.
Take that back.
Just kind of disturbing one. The Eversor Temple is about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want it all dead. And Eversor is psychogenically conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger. It does the Clockwork Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full of tons of psychedelic drugs and they cryo-freeze you. And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost.
Wow. So they just fuck you up, mentally freeze you, then when you unfreeze, they're like, you just kill everything.
Full of just all this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs. And you just go to town.
Yeah.
You don't care if anyone comes back alive. You're like, all right, lost cause. Send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the Caluxus Temple.
They kind of look similar to the last one, though.
Assassins are feared even among the other temples. So
really,
that blank gene, the people will go to the Caluxus Temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They're seen with extreme fear and distrust among
they are a lot
people.
bigger than
They're
I thought.
described by the Eldar by quote as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned, and then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by 100. If normally regular people feel uncomfortable,
so they're taught to use it to their advantage, kind of
akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear. And if you're a psyker, oh no, the sheer presence of a Caluxus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being near this person. The Caluxus assassin is when you want psychers to literally lose their minds, and they will go on their knees and ask you to gun them down because it is a suitable choice over being anywhere near you. The motto of that temple is
weird how that works.
That which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear. Now for the tabletop, assassins aren't that special. You can call them in no matter what Imperium faction you are.
Okay, so they're not playable.
They do a lot of work for themselves, but at the same time, they're very specialized and require
I just thought that would be a genuinely cool story to play.
And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Calidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up Eversor. You want to kill that one guy, Vindicare, and if you have a lot of psychers, Caluxus. It's a nice little, like, jack of all trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun. But now,
that's cool.
Let's talk about the last human faction. We can round this video out before we do part 2. The Inquisition. We have a lot to talk about with them.
How do we have a lot to talk about the videos almost done?
Oh boy. Where do I even begin with the Inquisition? Take every secret police you can think of. The KGB, the Gestapo, the CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people.
Times it by 100.
Mark it up by about 10. And give them the most power in the entire Imperium. No, you know what? How about this? This right here. It's not just a quote. This is the
giving straight
Imperial motto. the motto of the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing. The most powerful organization in the Imperium, the secret police, their #1 motto is innocence proves nothing.
Yeah, that's a little scary if you ask me.
Like the secret police or like detectives to find issues in the Imperium. And they have different ordos depending on which we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo Malleus, for instance, and a whole bunch of other ones. Hereticus is obvious, they deal with heretics. Xenos tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is demons.
Gotcha.
They all have different specializations in what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish. They may have a ship and a crew, and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department.
Really?
Over Space Marines. Now, the Space Marines might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of blowback, but technically they are above them as Inquisitors. They are looking to investigate and figure out coups and cults and demonic incursions and possible Xenos issues like gene stealers or a new threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes. And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they spend a lot of time being very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous power and sometimes a bit of a power complex. And we have...
Yeah, okay, power complex makes sense. But not all of them are... Like, okay, well, he said everyone's bad in this, like in some way, shape, or form. So I can't even ask the question. So not all of them are bad. I guess everyone's bad in this.
We haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus.
That's just an interesting way to look at it. Like, everybody's bad in this.
Unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested, and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. So I have now committed Exterminatus on this planet. I will now sign the death warrant of an entire Imperium planet, as it is unfit to take, and better
they just leave it.
Than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life.
Gotcha.
Yes, the innocence proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety.
That's pretty bad, man.
Yeah. You're playing the villain. Now, it is memed a lot, but most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus. Exterminatus is a very crazy thing. There's only so many worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one. But most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option they have. And it's a crazy option when you think about it. Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much. You generally kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special options there and some side content, but they're not really fleshed out very well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put into them. They're not quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well, because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of Space Marines killing something. Right? It's just a big battle story. It's not as interesting. Having that intrigue and that moral dilemma that an Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because then it adds a little more humanity to the Warhammer horrible, horrible grimdarkness. And wow, we just finished the humans, all right? Come back for part 2 when we talk about Chaos and Xenos, because we got to talk about the 4 Chaos Gods.
All right, I'm going to stop you there, because I'm going to watch part 2 probably, I want to say like a week from now, maybe. So like and subscribe and turn on post notifications for that if you made it to the end of this video. I gotta say, shout out to Bricky, because this was a very interesting video. I'm you know, a little bit more interested in the game. I say a bit more interested in the game. It looks like every kind of class or whatever they're called, factions have their cool stories. So yeah, I will be checking out part 2. Let me know. I want to know what do you guys play as down below. What do you guys do, you know, down below in this game? You can give me some tips if you want, because maybe I'll stream it over on Twitch once I do start it. And sorry if you guys heard any noise in the background during my video. You know, I have a little sibling. She'd be screaming or whatever. It's life, you know. If I can deal with it, y'all can for 50 minutes. So yeah, and I appreciate y'all for getting this far into the video. Like I said earlier, I will be checking out part 2 next week, so be here for that. And I have not much else to say. Like I said, leave down some tips if y'all want in the comments, because I might stream it on Twitch, which is linked in the description, and all that other cool stuff. But with all that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.